Every generation gets a technology that's going to destroy music forever. We got AI. Congratulations. Before that, it was Napster. Before that, Auto-Tune. And before that, synthesizers and drum machines. Music survived all these things. Either music's unkillable, or we keep burying the wrong body. So before we ask whether this time is different, and I do think something is different today, I think we need to look at the overall pattern first. Because AI didn't show up in a quiet little village of organic, human-only music and start causing problems. It showed up in an ecosystem that had already been mutated by technology over and over again, each time with the same panic, and each time with a more complicated outcome. I'm a musician, or I've been trying to be one since I was about 16, which is basically the same thing, except without the success, money, screaming fans, or the squeaky leather pants. Anyway, I have some skin in this conversation. And what I want to do in this video is look at 3 earlier transformations: electricity, machines, and computers, and show you the pattern they share. Because once you see it, the AI conversation can calm down a bit. And it's not because all the concerns are fake. Some of them are real, but we've been here before, and remembering what happened last time will help. Let's start with the first era, electricity, the mid-20th century. It was the moment that music got plugged in, the electric guitar, amplifiers, microphones, PA systems, recording studios, radio. Electricity didn't just make music louder, it changed the entire physical reality of performance. The guitar no longer had to be a polite little wooden box, quietly asking to be heard. It could become a weapon, a voice, a machine for making parents nervous, which was kind of the point. You get Chuck Berry, Elvis, the Beatles, Hendrix, feedback and distortion, the stage amps stacked to the ceiling, the idea that noise itself could be expressive. And I'm sure plenty of people at that time said the same thing people always say: it's too loud, it's too simple, it's artificial. This isn't real music. Electricity changed what counted as musical power. And it didn't kill the acoustic guitar, it opened another door, one that nobody could fully close again. That's the first pattern. A new tool changes the physical relationship between musician and sound. And people confuse that with the death of music itself. What actually happens isn't death, it's change and expansion. Then came the second era, synthesizers, drum machines, and sequencers. The objection turned from "this is too loud" to a dismissive question: is this music even being played? Because a synth doesn't behave like a guitar. A drum machine doesn't behave like a drummer. These tools moved the artistry somewhere new, from physical performance into programming, from playing into arranging, from execution to design. And every new musical tool comes with its own little committee of people whose job is to stand there and say, "No, that's cheating." So yeah, some people hated it. But then we got Gary Newman, Giorgio Moroder, Blondie, Prince, Michael Jackson's Thriller, new wave, synth pop, industrial, dance music, R&B, pop. Everything started absorbing machines. And then something else happened in nightclubs, house music. Chicago, DJs and drum machines creating something that had no live band at its center, just groove, texture, pulse, and a dance floor. Frankie Knuckles and others made music that was deeply human in its effect on its fans, but was almost entirely built with machines. No drummer sweating behind a drum kit, no guitar hero. And yet people danced. People felt things. People built entire communities around this. Was that fake music? Was it less human because the kick drum came from a box? I don't think so. Because the humanity wasn't only in the performance of the notes. It was in the selection, the taste, the timing, the way a track moved a room full of people at 2 a.m. Machines changed what musicianship could mean, and music didn't die, it mutated again. And now we're getting closer to the modern day with the third era, computers. Before computers, recording meant capturing a performance. Not perfectly. Studios were always a little artificial. Editing always existed. Tape manipulation was a thing. The idea that old records were just honest people playing their hearts out all together in a small room is mostly nostalgia. Maybe wearing a nice jacket. But computers changed the scale. Now a vocal could be tuned, a drum performance could be tightened, a chorus could be copied and pasted, the whole song could be assembled from fragments. Recording went from mostly documentation to obvious constructions. Then, in 1998, Cher released her record Believe, and auto-tune stopped hiding. Before that, pitch correction was invisible. The singer was fixed, quietly behind the curtain, like a studio goblin correcting notes when no one was looking. Believe pulled that curtain open and said, "No, we're doing the weird robot sound on purpose." And then that sound was everywhere, until it eventually stopped sounding futuristic and started sounding normal. And once the studio is software, the whole idea of making music changes. You don't need $1 million room anymore. You don't need tape. You don't need a console the size of a submarine. The barriers just kept falling until eventually a teenager could make something in a bedroom that competed with a major label release. And this is exactly what Billie Eilish did with her brother Phineas. "We just make music in a bedroom together," is what Phineas said at the podium during their 2020 Album of the Year Grammy acceptance speech. So did computers kill music this time? No. They changed where music could be made, who could make it, and how much polish an amateur could achieve. They also blurred the line between musician, producer, engineer, and editor. So here's the pattern, stated plainly. Electricity made music louder and more theatrical. Machines made it programmable and repeatable. Computers made it editable, modular, and bedroom producible. Each innovation triggered the same anxiety. This is fake. This is cheating. This isn't real music. This is gonna destroy everything. And each time the outcome got a little more complicated. Some things were lost. Some skills became less central, some jobs changed, some sounds got overused. Some very bad music was made with very powerful technology. That part isn't new, but new genres appeared. New artists got access, new kinds of musicianship emerged. The mistake is thinking that technology only subtracts or makes things less good. Technology rearranges. It moves value from one place to another. From volume to amplification, from performance to programming, from the studio to the bedroom. And now, AI. I think here we're looking at another rearrangement, but there's a catch, a difference, maybe. The three eras I just described, electricity, machines, and computers, they all change how music is made. But AI is arriving after a different kind of transformation already happened. One that didn't change the sound of music or the tools for making it. It changed how music moves, how it's owned and how it's heard, how it's valued. And that transformation, streaming, algorithms, the playlist economy, is where the story gets darker and where the concerns about AI start to land differently. Because the uncomfortable truth is this. AI didn't walk into a healthy music ecosystem and start breaking things. By the time AI showed up, the relationship between artists and listeners had already been quietly restructured by platforms that had very different incentives than either of them. Musicians today can write a song, record it at home, upload it to every platform on earth, and still feel like they threw it into a black hole. Not because the tools failed, because the system around the tools changed what getting heard even means. That's not a technology kills music story. It's a different kind of story. And I think it's the more important one right now. If you want to watch it immediately, it's the next video. It picks up right where this ends. I'd watch them back to back if you have the time, because the second one is where this stops being history and starts being the situation musicians are actually in now.